Good afternoon. It is time to have a recap of what we went over today or this past week and what we're going to go over next week. This week what we did is we worked on trying to find growth patterns, and what the students had to do is they had to determine, okay, what's a formula here that I could figure out. Obviously 1 through 10 is pretty easy because they have a pattern right here, but then it stops and goes from 15 and then all the way down here to 100. Well, that takes some time, and we need to think of a formula there that we can solve it real quickly. So what the students do is they're looking here and they're saying, okay, what's going on here? From birth, they're 1 centimeter long, and then at 1 year old, they're 6 centimeters. At 2 years old, they're 11. At 3 years old, they're 16. So what they're figuring out there is that each one is growing by 5 centimeters. So what they can do here is go 21, 26, 31, 36, and so on. So each one is adding by 5. But then whenever we get here to 15, how are we going to figure that out? Well, what we want the students to do is to realize that the age of this animal, which is called the crink, times 5, because each time they're going up by 5, so we want to multiply that by 5. That equals, so if we plug in, let's say 7 here, so they're 7 years old, 7 times 5 is 35, but we wanted 36. So what the students need to remember is, at birth, they were 1 centimeter, so we need to add that in. So what you can see here is if we did 15, we plugged 15 in, 15 times 5 is 75 plus 1 is 76. So that's the answer there. Then what they needed to do is they needed to look here at this next one, which is called the trifoot, and you can see it goes 17, 19, 21, 23 would be next, 25. So the students can say, hey, that's going up by 2 each time. So then the formula there would be the age plus 2, or I'm sorry, times 2, age times 2, and then what they needed to do is they needed to come and look and say, okay, how big are they at birth? Oh, they're 15, so I need to add 15. Okay, so there we go. Same thing for the water weasel here. They're looking here, they're saying, okay, this goes up by 5, this goes up by 5, so it's age times 5, and then however tall they were at birth, we're going to add that, and that's plus 15. So we're working on that, and then what the students are doing on the other side is they're graphing those and seeing, okay, what's the growth pattern and things like that, and they're answering a number of questions as far as, based on these growth patterns, will one ever catch up with the other one? And they have to analyze the graph, and they're looking at the lines and the slope, or what we call the steepness. So those are the things that we're going over. Another thing that we're going over is we're going over expanded form. So what we're doing is we're seeing a number written like this. It's in expanded form. We want to write it in standard form. So what we've told the students here is you write down 9 and then times 10 to the 5th power. It only happens with tens, but what you want to do is however many numbers, or whatever number that is, that's how many zeros you want to add. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there we go, that's 900,000 plus 3, and then we want to add 3 zeros. Well, that's 3,000, and then 70, and then 4. So they want to write it out like that. Then what they can do is they can go, okay, this is 903,074, and they can write it out like that. So that's what we're going over. Next week, we're going to go over area and perimeter. So I'll show you some cubes and things like that and what we're working on with that. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.